Good morning, guys. Mr. Parisi here, and today we're going to talk about car insurance or auto insurance. We're going to start by reading a little paragraph here talking about some key vocabulary. So the owner of a car is liable or legally responsible. So if you're liable, you are legally responsible. It's our first definition. For any damage done by the car or persons or property. So liability insurance protects the owner against claims resulting from an accident that is his or her fault. So that's why you would want liability insurance, to protect yourself in case the accident is your fault. And last but not least, the cost of the policy, which is the premium, is affected by the age and gender of the driver and where the driver lives. So there's so many different factors that go into how much you pay, but the cost of your policy is called your premium. And we're going to talk about a bunch of those factors as we go through these notes. So liability insurance is broken up into a couple different parts. There's numbers that are associated with different things. So the first two numbers deal with personal injury. Okay, so the number is just associated with how much money is the insurance company will pay for something. So that 10 stands for $10,000. That's the maximum amount of money that the insurance company would pay for an injury per person. Okay. So if one person's injured and it's $8,000 for medical expenses, the insurance company would cover that. If it was $12,000, the insurance company is only going to cover the first $10,000. Likewise, the 20 stands for the maximum amount the insurance company would pay for injuries for the whole entire accident. So if there were multiple people injured, they're only going to pay up to $20,000. Last but not least, that third number deals with property damage. And again, the same thing. 15 goes for $15,000. It's just how much they would pay in the event you damage somebody's property. Like, I don't know, some people have run through garage doors or hit the sides of buildings, and that's where the insurance company would come in and cover damages that deal with property. So it's pretty easy to calculate how much you're going to be able to, or you're going to have to spend on your policy. But your policy is affected by a couple different things. One of which is the area that you live in. So there's high risk areas, there's average risk areas, and low risk areas. And these are just going to be places where it's more or less likely that you'll get into an accident. So a high risk area might be somewhere like a city where there's a lot more traffic, there's a lot more cars, there's a lot more people. So that would be maybe considered a higher risk area versus out in the country where there's only a couple roads, there's really not as much traffic. You might be less likely to get into an accident out there. So if you live in a city, the insurance company might charge you more for insurance. So you'll see the high risk areas cost more for the same policies that you could get for less money in a low risk area. So we're just going to read the chart to find our premiums. You're looking at the first two numbers first. So what's the premium for a 75, 150, 50 policy in a low risk area? So we start with our low risk column over here, and we are going 75, 150. So that is $489. Then I'm looking for 50 for my property damage in a low risk area, which is $73. Add those up, your premium is going to be $562. Now this is just your base premium. This still can be affected by other factors that we're going to talk about, but it's a good way to start. Second, we've got a 2045 policy in a high-risk area. So 2040 in a high risk gets us $470 up here in the chart. And then we've got $72 for my 5 in the property damage. Add those up, it's going to cost a total of $542. So these are pretty easy. Why don't you guys try the next two, and then we will go over those answers in just a second. So my final answers for number 3 and 4 are $281 for the 20-40-10 policy in a low risk area and $244 for the 10-20-25 policy in an average risk area. So that, like I said, that's just finding the base for your premium, but it is going to be affected by other factors. So there's going to be times you pay more for your insurance, and there's going to be times you pay less for your insurance than that original number that you might find. So you're going to pay more if you're considered a riskier driver, and things that can affect that are if you get into a lot of accidents, okay, or if you get a lot of tickets. The insurance company is going to say you are a risky driver, and they're going to up your insurance. The younger you are, the less inexperienced drivers, you pay more money. Okay, the younger you are going to pay more money for your insurance. The key age when it comes to insurance is actually 25 years old. After you reach this point, your insurance is going to go down quite a bit as long as you have a good driving record. So if you have a good driving record, you will pay less. The more experience you have as a driver is going to help you lower your insurance. Again, the longer you go with having that good driving record, the lower your insurance is going to be. You can also do things, though, like take driver's ed courses. Or defensive driving courses. And this helps to lower your insurance. There's other things that also can affect it, like when you first start driving, men typically pay more than women because young men tend to be statistically more dangerous drivers. So the insurance company bases everything off of statistics, and that's how they determine if you're, going to be a risky or not risky driver. So try and keep a good driving record, try and be safe, and that's how you will pay the least amount for your insurance. So after they determine what the premium should cost for your policy, they take into account, like we said, what type of driver you specifically are. And that's why they give you a driver rating factor. Okay, there's a factor that you take and multiply by that regular premium in order to figure out what you are actually going to pay for your insurance. So again, you're going to just use that same chart that we used on the previous page. And you're going to look up the policies. It says, because Sharon has a good driving record, she earns a good driver discount. After finding her premium, the insurance agent multiplies her premium by the good driver factor of 0.86, find the actual cost. She buys a 75-150 50 coverage in a high risk area. So 75-150 gives us $835 for that first part for the personal liability coverage. Then the 50 in the high risk area gives you a $148 charge for your property damage coverage, totaling $983 for your insurance. But she's got that good driver discount of 0.86, so we're going to go ahead and multiply that. And that actually lowers that premium to $845.38. So pays to have a good driving record or get a discount of some sort. Number 1 here, Roland is 18 years old and lives in an average risk area. Wants 10-20-10 coverage, and because young males have the highest rate of accidents, he will be charged a 1.77 factor on his policy, and that's literally how insurance companies go about it. They look at the statistics. Young males have a higher rate of accidents, have a higher rate of tickets, so they charge them more for insurance. So that first part, 10-20 liability coverage, is going to cost me $167 plus $69 for the property damage, $236, and I'm going to multiply that by the driver rating factor to get $417.72 for that specific policy. Now it is lower because the 10-20-10 coverage, that's not much coverage, so that is a low amount of coverage to purchase. So obviously the more coverage you purchase, the more expensive your policy is going to be. And the last one we'll do together is number 2 here. Lindsay lives in a high risk area, wants 40-80-50 coverage, so more coverage than the previous problem, so it's probably going to be more expensive. And she also uses her car for business, so she's charged a 1.29 factor on her policy. So $40.80 gets me $610 charge plus my property damage charge or property coverage charge, which is $148. So the policy starts off at $758, but we do have that driver rating factor, so we're going to multiply by 1.29. And our final cost of this policy is going to be $977.82. So what I want you guys to do is try the last two questions on the next page, numbers 3 and 4. Once you're done, be sure to box your answer so it's clear for me to see, and submit this in Google Classroom so you can get a grade for it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment in Google Classroom, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Have a great day.